Hey, welcome back to another Scope Creepers podcast. My name is Aramis. I hope you're having a lovely day. I just got done with the recording for today's episode, and it was a blast. Today, I am talking to none other than Jotson. Somebody I feel like I've talked to before. I've known Jotson for a long time. He's rated into me on Twitch a ton of times. I've hung out on his chat for countless hours on end watching him make all his different games. He is currently working on a horror game, which we talk a lot about during this podcast, called The Mailroom. And I suggest you go wishlist it. It looks interesting. Look at this, the dithering effect on these shadows. Like, this really does feel like an encryption style kind of just a really cool culmination of so many parts of game development and his learning and his journey. And this was a fabulous conversation. Like I said, I feel, and like we've even talked after we got done recording, like it feels like we've talked in person before, but like this truly was the first time I actually got to chat with John in person, and it just worked out pretty well. We talk all about kind of why he started work on the Mailroom, to his journey as a full-time game developer, and why he likes being his own boss, kind of the struggles that he faces, and really one of the cooler parts that we get into toward the end of it is going to be talking a lot more about kind of the creative process and how sometimes over-polishing stuff can actually lead down the wrong path, and why sometimes a little bit of scuffed goes a long way. And it's really a fabulous part of the conversation. This is one of those like stereotypical ones where I feel like the conversation really gets good after about 30 minutes, and like we kind of settle into this really nice conversational cadence toward the end of it. And so I hope you stick around for the whole podcast and enjoy it. If you don't want to listen to it on YouTube, there is a link down below to the Spotify channel as well. But without further ado, let's dive into my lovely conversation with Jotson. My opening question for you, where I wanted to start, is why a horror game, and kind of maybe where did the idea of Mailroom come from?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. So the thing that you'll notice about all those games is that they're all different genres.
Yeah.
So Gravity Ace was like this arcade shooter thing that I made the classic mistake that everybody makes when they start out, and they made something that they were in love with, that they really just had to get out of their system and make. And it turned out it wasn't something that anybody else really wanted. but so that was like full on just old school arcade game. And then Dome Keeper was like, which was, I mean, I don't know. I'm getting a little sidetracked already, but like old school arcade game, nobody really wanted, but the portfolio that gave me led directly to the work on Dome Keeper. Like if I hadn't made
Gravity Ace, like playing Gravity Ace, I took away lessons from playing it as a developer. Like some of the sound effects and the polish you put in there, I'm like, there was a lot of like really good work done, and I had a lot of fun playing it when I played it on stream. And like, I can see how that would then. You said that helped you get into working on Dome Keeper. Yeah,
totally. Like, so I got basically hired based on the strength of that game's visuals, right? And how it sounded and played and felt and everything. So the pixel art and all that stuff. So I really love that game. I'm really proud of it. And it led directly into me getting work on Dome Keeper, which I worked on for 2 years. But that was not an arcade game. That was like, multi-phase, farming, crafting type fighting monsters at night game, right?
Yeah.
And then I did a bunch of prototypes, and every prototype was also different from every other prototype. There's like not one single thing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find the thing that I wanted. I did a game jam. That's where Ridiculous Shipping came out of. And that just came, I don't know where the ideas come from. And it just came, and I did Ridiculous Shipping for a little while. And then it was a tanky game for a little while. Like, so the Mailroom, it's just another in that sequence of just random stuff that comes into my brain. And I thought I think I got into my head, you know what, let's just make a first person 3D game, because I've never made one before.
Yeah.
So I just started doing that, and it felt really fun and cool, and it was like easy to get some stuff going,
Sure.
And then it kind of just morphed into this horror game. And I kind of like, I don't know, like I kind of like creepy dark things, but I don't usually show it to people. Like I took a poetry class in college, and I wrote
Yeah.
some dark stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so yeah, I don't know. The thing that they all have in common, I guess, is that they're all totally different from each other. So
Sure. There's a lot of questions here. So the dark parts of you, do you think this is almost like a game that's going to be more true to your kind of your inner self?
I don't know. You should. What's the advice they give you? Is know yourself. And I think I'm still figuring it out. Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of older, but I'm still figuring it out. Like, bad news, everybody. It takes a long time to find yourself.
Yeah, I just started going to therapy this year, and I thought I was a pretty like well-adjusted like 31-year-old adult, and he's just started asking some questions, and I was like, oh, okay, there's gonna be work to be done here, like, and I can see how eventually I'll like feel better about a lot of these different parts, but like right now I'm like, oh, there's just a lot of cracks and things in the foundation that I thought were fine,
Yeah.
and they were just like, oh no, we can work on that stuff, which is really cool. So
Yeah. I mean, I think I was telling a friend of mine about the Mailroom, and he was like, how's it going? I'm like, well, it's going pretty good, actually. It feels like the game is kind of making itself.
yeah,
It feels like I know all the next steps. Like, I can see all the way to the very end of the game. I just need to do it, And it feels really good to have an idea like that where you can see the whole thing all the way through. And he said, maybe this is your genre. Maybe that's why it's so easy. And I was like, huh.
because the shoe fits.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll
Because
find
like
out.
the trailer looks great. Like you nail a horror trailer. Like it's a game you can quickly understand if you like or not, which I think is something that I'm trying desperately to figure out. Like, how does somebody look at a game for 5 seconds and say, I want to play that or not? And I really feel like this is a style, the art aesthetic, like the cool dithering of the shadow effects and stuff like that. Like, all of that kind of lends itself to that encryption style kind of horror-y vibe that some people would just going to scratch their brain in just the perfect way. And they're like, it's going to be like an instant buy for certain people, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I've shown it to some people who are totally like super into horror games, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And like one person I was showing it to, who's a streamer actually, and she was like talking about horror games to her people, and just saying, she said something like, "Yeah, horror fans of horror are like, or a certain kind of horror, they're just like, they just love it and they can't explain why." And like, you'll never understand it. Like, if you don't understand it, you're not going to understand it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
some people just love that kind of thing, and they will just almost insta buy everything that comes out in that genre.
Why do you think that is?
I think, look, I think we're all weirdos on Earth.
Yeah.
We're just weirdos in different ways.
Yes.
And some people love to, work on their car engines, and some people like to build computers, and some people like horror games. And whatever it is that you geek out about, you usually geek out about it pretty hard.
Yeah.
And there's just a bunch of horror people, and that's great.
Yeah. As a genre, I wonder if it is similar to games like puzzle games or incremental games, for example, that I'm in that space right now. Is like, one of the nice things about those games is that people don't play them forever. And once you've played one, you can kind of be done with it and move on to the next one. And so there's just like a group of people who will always kind of just play the new thing in a way. Like, I think Survivor type games are also similar, where like people are generally excited to play a new one and explore the abilities.
Yeah.
And even if they're like similar enough, they'll play them again. But like puzzle games, like once you beat a puzzle game, you can't, like, replaying a puzzle
really
game isn't that
replay it,
fun.
yeah.
Because you've already had all those aha moments, and that's kind of that part of the brain. Do you think horror games are similar in that regard, where like once you've kind of worked through a horror game, you've completed it, you're not gonna like slay the spire? I've played it for 150 hours, and I'm not even like, I'm still okay playing it again. So like, I don't need to play another deck builder because I have slayed the spire. Do you think horror games are kind of like that, where they have kind of a one and done play
That's
style?
right. Like, that's a good observation. I think there are, I mean, to be reductive about it, there's two types of games, right? There's games that you play over and over again, and there's games that you play once.
Yeah.
And the thing that horror games and puzzle games and those types of games have in common is that there's like some sort of thing that you do that once you've done it, you can't really do it a second time. And with horror games, a lot of it is like, you know where all the jump scares are. They're not going to scare you the second time. And you know the story now. You know who the ghost is, you know? Why would you play it a second time? And so you need the next one because that one has a new story and a different setting and you can keep scaring yourself. But the only way to do it is to, you know, you want to be scared. You want to have this thrill like riding a roller coaster, but you can't just ride the same one over and over. You get bored of it. You got to get a new one. But games like Civ or Factorio or, you know, card games, whatever, they're different every time you play.
Yeah.
So you can play them over and over again.
Which is why I think those games are so much harder to make. And why maybe I'm shying away from making roguelikes because with a roguelike, you want them to replay it. And then you want them to then you're competing with all the other roguelikes out there, even if they're not necessarily in the same kind of subgenre of roguelike. Yeah.
I mean, you're making one right now, though.
A game about a black hole is not a roguelike.
Okay. It's a procedural card game, right? With like upgrades?
No.
Or not a card game.
Hexagod would be more like is a roguelike. A game about a black hole is a straight just incremental game. There's no lose condition. There's like a small timer. Timer runs out, you go to your upgrade screen and you get kind of just refresh and repeat. So I'm purposely doing that because I can work on a progression curve and not a difficulty curve. And it can be a game that like my target is for someone to play it for 2 to 3 hours and then never touch the game again. And that's okay.
That's interesting too, isn't it? Because like, it feels like you could play an incremental game over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people that do.
Absolutely, they do.
You know,
people who like want to speed run them, for example, or something,
right. or like, you know, get to a certain level faster than you did last time, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I for a second there, I thought we were going to go into like, what's the definition of a roguelike these days?
we can't, if you want to go down that path, we can argue about it.
No. People will get mad at us. We'll both get canceled.
I probably, my definition will be way too high level for people. I'll be like, it's this, like.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. So horror games, I think they're just, you play them once, you can't really play them a second time. So you need another one. Yeah.
Has that helped you with building this game? Like kind of understanding that?
It has, you know, like with ridiculous shipping, one of the problems I'm having right now, and the reason I put it on hold, is it has a replayability problem. And it's a design problem, and I didn't really know how to solve it. I was kind of banging my head against the wall, so I just put it away for a little while. It's been, I don't know, 3 or 4 months now. I put it away, and I'll just come back to it when I feel fresh, you know. And I saw somebody playing the demo yesterday, and that was actually fun to watch them play the demo.
Yeah.
And I got some ideas and I wrote them down. So I'm feeling like a little pull back towards it again.
Ooh.
But yeah, it is hard to make something replayable. It's super hard.
Yeah.
Right? You got to put in all this stuff. You have to add a lot of depth to it. But with a horror game, you're kind of just telling a story. It's almost like reading a book. And you just need to, I said just, but it's hard, but you need to
just make it good. It's fine.
Yeah. Kind of, just make it awesome and then just nail it.
Yeah. Just finish the game.
You need to tell your story in a way that is interesting to them. But there's no like, I don't need to have 100 different upgrades. I don't need to make 300 jokers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just easier, a little bit easier from that standpoint. And like the art production and the production pipeline is a lot easier because instead of like 50 different monsters for my vampires, like I just need to make like 3 guys, you know, and they pop out at you at different times. And so there's a lot of it that is easier.
And even the pacing of a gameplay, like the trailer has like one of the things I noticed as rewatching it before this was like the trailer has moments where like you're slowly walking to the next spot. Like you're holding a thing and there's tension building up toward this next action, which is deliberately slow and deliberately like, you know, kind of building that anticipation, which from a content perspective, nothing's really changing. You're just like walking over to this spot. It's
so
not
boring.
Yeah, it is like, but it is also, it's purposeful because of that Like it's crunchy in that good way for people, which I think is interesting too. You know, in comparison to ridiculous shipping, there might be if there was a long pause of 10 seconds, you might be like, well, how do I fill that with something potentially?
Yeah. Like you take a first person shooter or like an arena shooter or something, you know, you're like, how fast can I do a 360? You know, it's got to be fast. I need to run. I need to jump. I need to do some wall climbs, you know, and I need to feel powerful. But in a horror game, you want to do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You want to make the player feel weak and slow and
the
like
turn speed
moving
is slow,
from
so
place to place.
Yeah.
It just takes forever. You can't turn around very fast. And you're like, oh my God. So you need to, like, if you could move really fast in a horror game, it would take away a lot of the fear.
Because I guess why do you think that is? I'll be curious.
I mean, part of fear in these games is to feel vulnerable. You can't feel vulnerable if you're powerful.
That's true. It's the opposite of like a power fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to feel weak and lame.
I've never thought of a horror game from that perspective.
I mean, look at them all, though. Like, you only have one bullet for your gun. Your flashlight's always running out of batteries. You can't move very fast. You take one hit and you die. You know, it's scary.
It feels really human then. You know, like it's the opposite. You're like, I want to just feel myself as a fragile being that if I fall down the stairs the wrong way, it's done, you know? Like, it almost feels more realistic than other games where we do want a power trip on you know, a fantasy.
Yeah, this could be like a game PhD dissertation or something. They're like the anti-power fantasy.
Yeah. Huh. I've never considered it from that perspective. That's really interesting. What other lessons have you learned or things that you've picked up as you've been working on a horror game that, you know, were surprising, or maybe something, another question could be maybe something that's like, oh, I didn't think that, you know, having worked on that tank game or ridiculous shipping, I didn't think that skill would transfer into a horror game, but it ended up doing it.
I mean, I don't know. I've done, this is like my second or third 3D project. So doing 3D is still relatively new to me. Like when I started this project, I'd done a little bit of Blender, but not a ton. And so I feel finally like I'm getting better at it. And like I almost understand Blender. I know. And that came from like practice that I had on my previous work, you know, with the shipping and the tank thing and all that stuff, you know. So that did transfer over. But a lot of stuff that didn't transfer was like just new skills for me. Like writing a story and making a cut scene and like building some tension and fear, and you know, those are all like relatively new skills for me. It's not like, you know, in Gravity there's none of that. You just go shoot those guys. That's your job. It was easy, you know? Try
to get an S plus. There's the tension. Yeah.
Do it over and over again. And in this game, I have to be a little more, I have to put on more of my storyteller hat, which I think is fun.
Sure.
But, I think that's part of the reason why I keep switching projects or doing different genres, because there's always something new to try and learn how to do. So there's been some stuff that's transferred over, but there's been a lot of new stuff too, which I think is cool, but also really frustrating and hard to do. Like, it's just hard to learn new stuff.
What's the hard, frustrating stuff? I mean, that like comes to mind.
I mean, like, you know, I don't know. Like, I'm making a monster for the game right now.
Yeah.
And I want him to be scary, but my modeling skills aren't super great. And I'm doing my best. And I made a guy, and I put him on stream this morning, and the first thing anybody said was, "Oh, that's cute." I was like, damn it. You know, I'll keep working at it. It'll get scarier. But that's frustrating, you know? Like, and if you're watching this, you know who you are, and I don't hold a grudge. It's fine. But, you know, it's just stuff like that where you're like, oh God, you feel like you're fighting your software. You feel like you're fighting your natural impulses. You know, you're out of your comfort zone, basically. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like if you're out of your comfort zone, that's good because it means you're pushing yourself to do something that is hard, right? It's because you've never done it before, and so you're learning. But it's never what I would call fun. Like it's not super fun to be out of your comfort zone.
It's not.
Yeah.
Makes sense though. I mean, it is where growth happens. It's where we learn something new. And I think I'm attracted to game development maybe for the same core reason that you are, in that of like, we have so much capabilities to learn a bunch of different genres and like different, like I'm planning on making another incremental game after this game to see if I can do it faster from like, this is like a business standpoint, but I don't want to do that. So it's like, I would want to keep making games in different areas.
You don't want to make a sequel?
I don't want to, it's not a sequel, but it would be like, I'm going to try to release a game about a black hole in November here, and then also release another incremental game kind of after the February Next Fest. So try to hit like 2 Next Fests back to back. And to do that, my thought is like to lower the risk of that kind of blowing up in my face is to just take a lot of the understanding and learning I'm doing right now and do it again, but faster and more efficiently. Mm-hmm. And so it's basically what I'm thinking is like this, like a 6 months of like, can I run my business effectively and efficiently?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, the next game after that is probably gonna have to be something different because I want to keep growing and learning and changing as a developer, and I enjoy that process of learning.
You're talking about like part of you wants to be an artist, but part of you has to pay bills.
Yes.
Right. Like
that's like the central tension, I would say,
right.
to game dev, full-time game dev is like, oh, I still gotta make money at the end of all this.
Damn. Still gotta buy groceries and pay rent and stuff.
Oh, I see those inflation numbers come in. I'm like, oof. Oh
yeah.
No, the bar's going up.
It's time to pay bills again. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like one of the reasons I got into game development is because, and this is something I didn't know about myself years ago, but I think the reason I got into software development at all, and I think this is true of a lot of people, probably 100% of people. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 100% of people are creative. They just don't think of themselves as creative.
Oh yeah.
But they are. And like everybody does something creative every day. You're solving some kind of problem. You're literally creating an answer to some kind of problem. And it doesn't matter how small it is, right? It's like this customer wants something stupid. How am I going to solve that? That's creativity. And like software development, how am I going to meet these customer requirements? That's creativity. And making a game, right? Making music or art or whatever for the game, that's also takes creativity. I think people need these creative outlets to feel human. And I know I do. And one of the great things I love about game development is that it lets you do all of them at once. Like you can do the art and the music and the writing and the software development, and you get to scratch all the creative outlets all in one activity. You know, that's one of the reasons I love it. And if I could do that forever without having to worry about bills, I would probably do it forever. But I can't. So that's where the business side creeps in.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying to ship 2 games a year.
Yeah.
And you make slightly different decisions when there's a business case, you know, than you would if you were just doing it purely for the art or whatever.
Yeah. It's almost like, I feel like I want to earn the ability to do that ... You know, like the just kind of, okay, now I can set aside and have two years to just kind of cook on an idea. And just because I've had success in these games, or the long tail sales is enough where it's, you know, maybe, you know, I'm not making hand over fist, but some sort of like general, you know, above water, I would earn the right to like take a longer kind of approach to something.
Yeah.
And let it cook, you know, because that sounds way more fun. Like just kind of exploring a game space as opposed to trying to like make something on a deadline.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. Like, I feel like that seems impossible almost. Like, I'd have to make a lot of money to be able to just disappear for a little while and just spend years making something. Like, I just can't afford to do that. And I don't know about you, but I have a little bit of a runway. Yeah. But it's not infinite, and it gets smaller, you know, the longer I take. Yes. So I have to prioritize certain decisions, like making a small game instead of a big game. Yeah. Making a game I can make quickly instead of one that would take longer.
Where does the mailroom fit into that? How what's the size of that feel like in your head?
Well, so like, I don't know, compare it to Ridiculous Shipping again. Ridiculous Shipping, I've spent about 4 months working on it and couldn't quite figure it out. Mm-hmm. And there's a design problem that I mentioned. And I don't know, that game, now that I'm in it, feels like it's a year or more of a project. And
Ridiculous Shipping or the mailroom?
Ridiculous Shipping.
Okay, yeah.
So it feels like it's about a year of a project or more to be able to finish it in the way that I think it wants to be finished. Yeah. So I don't have a year. So I needed to pivot to something else. So that's why I did 2 Playdate games this year. Yeah. I did one in 2 weeks and I did the second one in 10 days. And then I started on Mailroom, which, because I could see the whole game in my head and I kind of knew everything I needed to do to make it, I told myself, I think I can make that in like 6 months and just have it out the door. And that fits my schedule much better, right? Yeah. And if these games, like my next, the Playdate, my newest Playdate game comes out in 2 weeks, that'll extend the runway a little bit. And then it's not going to be great, you know, not huge, because Playdate's like, it's such a small crowd of people. Sure. But then the horror game will come out maybe in March, you know, following on the coattails of that one. And so that will be another bump, extending the runway a little bit. And then maybe that gives me enough time to finish Ridiculous Shipping. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
Stacking stuff up, I like it. Is it hard to make Playdate games?
Yeah. It's hard to make anything.
Sure. But like a Playdate's so simple, but it probably, that simplicity lends itself to a whole set of problems.
Yeah, there's trade-offs for sure. Like, there's no editor. It's not like Godot where you have a visual editor or anything. You're writing just straight code. You have the choice of writing it in C, your game, or you can write it in Lua. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know C or Lua, that's a hurdle. There's no, I don't know. Both of those languages are not the best languages. Sorry if you love C and Lua, but they're just not. You're wrong. Lua's fine, and I wrote both my games in Lua, and but there's like no real framework. Like, they give you sprites. That's it. You got to figure out everything else yourself. Sure. But on the plus side, it's a 400 by 240 pixel screen. So you cannot, as much as you'd like to, you just cannot make detailed art. It's not going to happen. So you don't have to waste your time on it. The CPU
it'll always be that size screen too, right? Like, there's no, you don't have to worry about different monitor sizes. You don't have to worry about like that changing. It's always going to be that. The hardware's always this. It's always, you know.
It has exactly 2 buttons, 1 crank, a D-pad. The screen is always the same size for everybody. It's always black and white. Yeah. It's just, you have 2 colors, black and white. That's it. The CPU is the same for everybody, you know. It always runs at 30 frames per second, period. Yeah. So you don't have to use Delta anywhere. You can just hard code numbers left and right. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of like nice things about having that. And the part of the reason I chose the Playdate to make those games is because I knew I could make them super quick. And I did. I made 2 games in 24 days and shipped them both. And I feel pretty good about that. Not a ton of money, but more money than I could have made in 10 days.
Sure.
Doing something I didn't like, you know? It was a
That's
fun
not
way to
bad.
make money in 10 days.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're still learning game design stuff and growing in that regard, correct?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Definitely. And like, I think one of the things, to keep talking about the Playdate a little bit, like, I think one of the interesting things about it is it's kind of like a prototyping area almost.
Sure.
Like if something did really well and was popular on the Playdate, there's nothing stopping me from just porting it to Godot and then just launching it on Steam too. You know?
Yeah.
And that would be easier because the game's already done. Like all the design problems have already been solved. You're just kind of making it nicer and juicier and bigger.
Sure. You're just
Maybe adding
converting
a level or
your
something.
code base
Yeah,
over.
converting it over. So there's the option to do that, which is kind of like what you're talking about, like making another incremental game.
Yeah.
Like I could just sort of make the same game again. And that's easier than making something from scratch.
From a business standpoint, it's reducing the unknown
Yeah.
variable to try to then, be more efficient with the amount of time, so that then the ratio between how much money you make from the project versus how long you spend on it is more favorable.
Right. Sorry.
Because you can increase the amount of money you get from a game, which is a hard thing to do, or you can decrease the hours you spend on the project and to make it a more financially successful project, I suppose.
Yeah. Whatever that means to whoever's watching. Like everybody's financial situation is different.
Yeah.
I live in Southern California and I have a family to support, so
I live in Minnesota and I have cats to support.
Yeah.
Cats
My bills
cost
are
a
a
lot
little
less
higher
than kids.
I don't know if I lived in, I don't know, there's just lots of lower cost of living areas than Southern California,
Yeah.
Or if I was alone,
Yeah.
it'd just be a little different math.
It is. Have you found that? How has that impacted game development as a career and a journey for you, having a family and kind of where you're located?
I mean, it's like everything. There's pros and cons, like knowing that you have people that depend on you is stressful.
Sure.
But it also gives you a push, It makes you not give up.
Yeah.
It makes you maybe try harder, and like even on days when you don't feel like doing it, you're like, yeah, but I got to do it or else,
Yeah.
like I can't move back in with my mom, and especially not with 2 kids, and it's just not going to happen. So
Yeah.
there's pressure, but it's good and bad to have the pressure,
I feel like, yeah. Looking back to having full-time jobs, like I'm like, it's just different types of pressure. Like I had a lot of pressure and dread about waking up, and I was the lead on a support team, which by definition means I just got all the worst customers. And so I'd wake up on a day and not know what my day would look like, and that kind of sucked,
Yeah.
And I'd get yelled at and had frustrated people, and like there's just a lot of like stuff that sucks about. But on the flip of the coin, I was making plenty of money. I didn't care about how much groceries cost. I could go out to eat, and it wasn't a big deal, right? Like, and now I just trade the stress of like, oh yeah, and I get to control what my day looks like. I get to control what I work on. I get to control which games I work on, when I stop working on a game, if I do. Those are all hard decisions to make. But now money's different, and it feels very different.
Yeah. Like everything's a trade-off.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Pros and cons, like working for an employer with a steady paycheck feels good, sometimes. It feels bad sometimes. I know for me personally, I'm trying my hardest not to ever work for anybody ever again.
Yeah.
'Cause it's just not my personality or something. I don't feel like I fit in,
Sure.
in that area.
What do you like about working for yourself and kind of not having a boss?
I like not setting alarm clocks. I, I haven't set an alarm clock in years, you know? I just wake up when I wake up.
Is there a normal
great.
time that is, or does that fluctuate?
It depends on how hard I went yesterday.
Sure. It's based off of the input variables for sure.
Yeah. Right. It's based on the input.
You input a lot of energy and like cheese and ice cream. Maybe then there's a lot of the other side is the sleep in gets
yeah, exactly. I mean, there's, making your own schedule is basically awesome.
Yeah.
Being able to choose what you want to work on is awesome. Just saying, I'm going to do this today, not this other thing. That's awesome. But on the flip side, there's like, I don't know if I'm going to have any money coming in next month. That's a little stressful. Like taking money out of your savings is a little stressful every time it has to happen. But I don't know. I was stressed out when I worked for people too, because I was always like, oh God, am I getting fired this week? Is there going to be a layoff? They're working on this stupid new project that I tried to talk them out of, but we're doing it anyway. Oh my God. People are always upset and in a hurry. There's like nonstop meetings. It's just that adds up too. That was stressful for me. I could not take it. I don't know. I have like some kind of attention problem, but I just cannot stay in a job for more than a couple of years before I get so fed up and bored with it. I have to quit anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I've only had a couple jobs, but all of them I got bored with and jaded, and I would become somebody I was like, this isn't the kind of coworker I want to be. And like, I usually left at that point and found a different job.
If I ever go looking for a job again, I'm going to ask you to edit this part of the video out later.
2 years down the line, you're like, Aramis, like, that middle part where we were talking about how much we hate working for people. Yeah,
I've got some interviews this week. Can you please just take the video down for a little while?
That's really good. Or this could be used as a filter. Like, if somebody watches this and they're like, oh, we shouldn't hire that person, then maybe you didn't want to work for them. Because it is honest and human. I feel like most people feel this way about their jobs. And so I wouldn't want to work for a manager who doesn't understand the fact that people don't actually want to be there,
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Like, if they stopped paying you, you'd stop showing up. That's the whole relationship is based off the fact that they're giving you money. I'm not volunteering to be a lead on a support team. I'm glad
the whole world is coming around to that point of view, because it always felt weird to me. Like, people are like, yeah, I'm really excited that we're working on this. I'm like, you are? Really?
You're like, really? That project?
I'm excited for payday, and I'll do the work that you asked, but I'm not excited about what are you talking about? Like, this isn't why we're here on this earth.
Yeah. No, it's not. One of the things I've liked about game development, I'm interested to hear if you feel this way too, is like, with a full-time job, I felt like it was really hard to work harder and get more money, like, as a developer. It was hard, like, because we don't really have like a wins above replacement. There's no like way to show I'm better than X, Y, and Z dev, or I deserve, I've basically I'd get my paycheck and that was it. And that was fine.
Yeah.
But with a game, if I make a really good game, the cap on that is endless. Like, a really good game could become a retirement plan, theoretically, right? Like, and it's a few orders of magnitude away from the sales that I've had. It's not even like, and a few orders of magnitude is not schedule 1 levels of success. That's simply the game selling $1 million, not whatever. That game has sold hundreds of millions of dollars at this point, right? Like, do you like that aspect of game development? Is that something that's attractive to you? Thinking kind of like from having a paycheck to having like I know that it's hard to have like a stable paycheck as a game developer, but like the upswing is way higher.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I've thought about it in those terms. I do like the idea that if I do something that's successful, I get the reward and not somebody else.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
With self-employment in general, I prefer the feeling that if I work really hard, I make more money, and like I can directly see exactly how that works. And like if I choose not to take any contracts in December because I want to take December off, then I know I'm not going to make any money in December, and January is going to be a little, I'm going to have to hit it in January to make it up, but that's fine. I can make that decision.
Yeah. It's just time off. There's no PTO. It's just time off.
But like working for somebody else, they're like, we need this and we need this, and you got to work really hard. And you're like, yeah, but if I don't, I'm still going to get paid the same, right? Like, and like, no matter, like, I don't know. I was talking to a coworker, a previous coworker a couple years ago, and they're like, hey, John, you know that code that you wrote like in 2004? Well, Microsoft is still running it in production. And they've made like millions and millions of dollars where my code was involved over like a 30-year period. And I got zero of that.
Damn.
Zero. Because I got employed that year that I wrote it, and they paid me for that year that I wrote it. And like, it doesn't matter how good it was or how well it
There's
did.
no royalties on our code.
Yeah. It's just like, that kind of sucks.
It is so interesting to think that, there's code that my first job, like I wrote a lot of code for their Salesforce system. Like that company's still using probably a lot of that stuff. There's probably some people there who are like, Andy, like his name's all over the code base. Like that guy.
Yeah. Who is this guy?
I hope, like, I imagine some of that stuff is absolutely garbage code, which is
Yeah, but it has a comment on it that says, do not touch at your own risk. And they're like, I'm not touching that.
Don't comment this line out. It will break everything. It's fine. Just leave it be.
But no royalties.
Yeah.
No annual, benefit from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that about contracting or self-employment in general, is that I know if I work harder, I make more money.
Yeah.
It feels good.
It does. It does. I also like that. On the flip of the coin, I feel when I don't want to work, I feel pretty guilty about it. Being like, because like I could show up and phone it in at a full-time job, and it would just be a day where you really just not do anything, and you'd be like, whatever, I still get the paycheck. But now if like I have that day, I'm trying to give myself the grace to be okay with that and just let that be, and then know that I'll come back tomorrow feeling more engaged.
Mm-hmm.
How do you manage those days? If you have those days, I suppose. I won't imply that you do, but if that emotion comes up, how do you manage that?
I mean, I work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
but no, but I give myself time, like I recognize when I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I know when I need to go to sleep, and I know when I need to take a nap, and I know when I need to eat and take a break. And I do those things. I do them all day long.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Are weekends like an ancient, like lame concept? Like, should we just work when we feel like working and then rest when we feel like resting and then forget about the whole concept of a weekend? That's kind of how I live my life.
Maybe is where I'm trying to get to, is that just kind of like that complete agile experience where you're just kind of doing it when you want to do it.
Yeah. That's why I don't know, like half the time I don't know what day it is, because they all are like the same to me.
And they don't matter because you don't have meetings, so it's kind of like
I mean, I have a couple of regular meetings with some business partners of mine, but
Twitch, you could consider Twitch a meeting in some regard too.
Kinda, yeah. Like I know it's Thursday because I got to stream on Thursdays, and I stream on Sundays. But like, if it weren't for that, like they're all kind of the same. And like, oh, you want to go to brunch today? Well, we don't have to wait till Sunday. We can go on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I can work on Sunday. Like it's fine. Like there's nothing special about the day of the week. I feel the more I am self-employed, and I've been doing this since 2006, the weirder it feels. The whole concept of a weekend just seems strange. I remember I took a break from self-employment for a few years, in the middle there, and being back in an office after like 10 years was like so weird. Everybody was like, "Thank God it's Friday, right?" I'm like, "I guess, man." I just didn't understand any of it for a long time.
Yeah. When were you last fully employed?
It was, I think 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't very long.
Yeah. I've always thought maybe I would like being employed again and like going into an office just to see, like, to socialize more. Is socialization something that because you've now, I guess you've been being self-employed for a very long time. Has a lot of that been remote work?
Yeah, all my work has been remote. Yeah. So like I started, like, I mean, I worked for the man for like a decade, and then got laid off and decided, you know what, that sucks. I'm going to just do contract work.
Yeah.
And that worked out, you know, because, you know, timing and whatever, and the economy was better, and it was very lucrative. And I'm sorry, what was the question?
I'm trying to get at the fact that something I've felt working at home since the pandemic basically is that I miss the socialization that I got from full-time jobs.
So yeah, so I was self-employed for a long time, and like the only friends I had, and my kids were growing up, right? So the only friends I had were like my kids' friends' parents. Yeah. And my contracts, you know, like I would have a contact at the company I was working for. And I got invited to some Christmas parties at like weird companies that I didn't really want to go to, you know, stuff like that. And then my kids were growing up, so I was like just doing that pretty much full time. Yeah. And like, I don't know. I don't think after my kids stopped being friends with their friends, their kid friends, that was the last time I saw their parents. Like, we weren't real friends, you know? Yeah. We just went to the same birthday parties.
Yep. Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I didn't really super miss it. I have a really good relationship with my wife and my kids. Yeah. But then, you know, they got older, and I guess I did start to miss it a little bit. And so I just started going to like meetup groups and stuff, you know? And
I know you've always talked about that. I just started going to the IGDA Twin Cities. I've been to the last 2 meetings now. One was to play test my game, and the other one was just like a meetup. And like, I'm going to be going to that weekly. I think it's every Wednesday. And like,
it's cool to have a group of people that you can talk to that understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. I'm like, and we're all introverted people who like to, you know, sit at their computers. And so I like remember being so nervous walking into like that moment. And I walked in and everyone else was like, oh, they all had that same kind of like social anxiety that I'm like, okay, this is, I'm okay here. I'm not, no one's going to be mad at me if I'm socially awkward in the very opening moments of a conversation.
Yeah. Some of my best friends I met that way. And it's been years now, but like, I remember like the first meetup group I went to, I think I sat in the parking lot for like 20 minutes before I went in. You know, I was like super nervous. But then funny thing, I was like talking to some friends, and they're like, hey, you remember we met at that meetup group? Like the first time I went, I sat in the parking lot for like 20 minutes. I'm like, me too.
I literally, we did that. It was like a 2-hour call or not call, but a presentation. And then afterwards they all went to the bar, and I was the first one, I'm pretty sure, who left the meeting, the call, and I sat in the parking lot for 10 or 15 minutes waiting for more people to show up. Yeah. Okay. I feel pretty normal now.
It's normal. It's like, it's scary, you know, to meet people and, be judged. Yeah. And worry if you're cool enough or whatever. And I don't know. I guess as encouragement, I would say to anybody watching this, nobody cares. It's fine. It's going to be fine.
And you're like, nobody cares. I sat down and I immediately just started talking about games or D&D or like, odds are you could throw out your favorite interest or one of the reasons you got into it, and someone else is like, yeah, I love that thing too. And then you're instantly talking about something you both love.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It's a very easy conversation. You can just walk up like, hey, what game are you working on right now? And they'll probably have a project they're working on.
And then I started streaming on Twitch in like 2019, and I've met so many people doing that.
Yeah.
I met you doing that. And look at us now. We are talking. And if only like we were in the same state, I'm sure we'd have hung out a lot more and gotten beers and stuff, but we just have some geography between us. But I get a lot of my social, stuff out now just online, which is like new for me. I think it's new for a lot of people since 2020, right?
Yeah.
Like, everybody's being on video calls and everything all the time. But I mean, it feels pretty real. Like I care about the people I talk to, and the people that I see on a regular basis, even though it's not, in person or whatever, it still feels really nice. I get the same friendship dopamine, I guess. I don't know what you'd call it.
Yeah. When you see the chatters who frequent especially the people who show up in the first 30 minutes, you see some of those names pop up, and it feels like saying hello to, it feels a little bit more like a coworker in my head than maybe a friend. And I'm friendly with I have been friendly with coworkers, but it's the same like, oh, hey, how's it going? You maybe know a couple little bits about them, and they know a couple bits about you, and it is a fun little thing. What got you to start streaming in the first place?
I don't even remember. It was like 2019. I think a friend of mine was doing it, Vimlark. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So he came to that same meetup group, and he also told me he had trouble going in the first time he went in. But like, he was like, you should stream like this Gravity stuff. People would be interested in watching it. I'm like, you think so? And so I did. And turns out he was right. And they were. And it's been cool. Like I would never thought, like if you asked 8-year-old me, like, hey, one day I think you're going to be on a TV show on the internet, I would be like, what are you talking about? That's insane. But I kind of have a TV show on the internet and people watch it and it blows my mind. Yeah. It's fun though.
Yeah, it is.
I think before we started recording, we were talking about how streaming is kind of a distraction from being game development. And I tell people, like people say, oh, you're a streamer. Wow. I'm like, no. I'm a game developer who streams.
Yes.
That's a very different thing. Like, I don't care about getting subs. I don't run ads. Like, that's not why I'm here. I'm not getting in a hot tub, And I try to, it's a trade-off though, because you have to do some streamer things to get people to watch you.
Yeah.
So I kind of am, but I don't, nothing against streaming or streamers, but it's just not why I'm here.
You would go about it in a different way if you were trying. I'll be curious. What is the distinction for you between a streamer who does game development and a game developer who streams?
That's like anything. Like I started a TikTok account to try and promote the Mailroom, right? And my wife's like, remember, you're not a TikTok content creator. You're a game developer, okay, who happens to be advertising on TikTok. And the difference is, on TikTok, you follow the trends and you do the weird, dances and you do the stupid stuff.
Are you dancing to promote your game?
No.
Oh, come
Maybe
on.
I will. Maybe. If this video that you're watching right now gets 100 likes.
That might be a tall order too. I think we get like 20 likes on a podcast.
This video gets 100 likes.
Minutes into the recording, so
Aramis and I will both dance in a TikTok video. That's a promise.
Oh, that's so scary. I was at a wedding once, and they did it. We did a TikTok dance as the groom's party, and I was part of that party, and it almost broke our friendship. We were behind the scenes. Everyone was like preparing to do it, and we were all in a panic state. Basically, we were all like snappy, and because we were all so nervous to go up and do some TikTok dance that we absolutely failed at. But there was a moment where we were all about to just like say, nope, friendship's not for us anymore. And it was
Andy, those aren't the steps.
Yeah, we were practicing, but everyone was I just remember being so afraid of what we're about to go do.
Oh man, yeah, stressful. When people get cornered like that and they feel like there's no way out, your fight or flight kicks in.
Yeah, yeah. So no TikTok dances for you, but you're doing it to promote the game.
I'm doing it to promote the game because there's a way to get you can. It's crazy, but there's so many people on TikTok. You can put up a stupid video that gets like 800 views in an hour.
Yeah,
and like 3 of those people will wishlist the game. And there are new people that have never seen you before and they don't know anything about you. They just think your game looks cool. And that's who you want to reach, right? You want to reach like new people that don't know you.
Yeah.
And like I'm posting on TikTok and I notice like every single video I post, 99% of the viewers have never heard of me before, right? So that's awesome. It's a great way to like reach new people. But my wife's like, but you're not a TikTok creator, remember? You're not a streamer. You're not a TikToker. You're not a YouTube guy. That's not your job. You have to actually finish the game. That's your job.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess the difference is if I was just a streamer, I would just work on a game and never finish it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ship anything.
Because the product would be your content that you're creating while you're making it. Yeah.
It's a different product. That's the difference, right?
Yeah. I think that's a lesson I had to learn because I've done streaming now enough times trying to do it seriously where I was like, I want to grow bigger. And it was a mindset of it being a product. And I'd look back at the stats. Like last year, I did it for like 6 months pretty consistently of trying to do 4 to 5 days a week. And like, I looked at them like, oh, the growth potential isn't here. Partly maybe game development on Twitch has a cap and ceiling in some regard, right? Mm-hmm. But like, I was like, oh, this isn't a product. The game is that's like that whole shuffle. Even thinking of my YouTube content, like I've now tried to make videos that take me less than 2 hours to make. Talk to camera, press upload, and then move on with my day. It's not necessarily the product of what's going to be making me money.
You have a lot of YouTube followers, though.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what was it, like 15,000 or something?
There's a non-trivial amount of people who have bought the Aramis bundle, which is a game about a black hole, not a game about Hexagod and Chess Survivors. Like, and other people that have other wish listed and bought the games as well. So it's really hard to understand how much money I've made from people buying my games, but it's definitely not 0. And it's also definitely not 1 million. So it's somewhere between those two numbers.
But like your YouTube channel feels like it's almost on the cusp of becoming big enough that it could be the thing that you do.
It could be. I don't.
You're not interested in that.
I am interested in that. There's a big ego part of me that is interested.
Here you are doing a podcast.
Yes. The podcast is for socialization. It's just me and these cats in this room all day. They don't ever talk. They literally nap up there the whole time. There's a part of me that wants to be a bigger YouTuber. That's the ego part of me, and there's a vain part of me that enjoys putting out a video and having a bunch of people see it. I would be lying if that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I have that too. That vanity.
Yeah, and I know it's there. I enjoy it. And I can also be like, oh no, I'm helping people, I'm inspiring people, and that's also true. Like that, I like when people leave comments saying, "Oh, this is inspiring." Like those are both, fluffing my ego in some regard. I think that right now, if I were to say, okay, instead of doing 2 hours of video, I'm gonna 5x it and say I'm gonna spend a whole day, 10 hours of video working on it. I don't know if that would necessarily be enough work for me to start seeing more of a return on that investment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's so hard to predict, right? You just never know what's gonna pop off with an audience, and people will like things that you didn't expect, and you almost have to be like, I think maybe, I don't know, I'm not an expert at this because I don't have a big YouTube channel or anything, but it feels like what you do is you do some random things and you figure out which one worked the best, and then you keep doing more of that. So you're chasing what the audience wants, not necessarily what you want to do.
Yeah.
You're doing what they want you to do.
Yeah.
which is fine because, I mean, there are lots of people who are like, you know, like we were saying before, like, I don't really care what the job is. I need the money.
Yeah.
And if I can make $1 million making YouTube videos, I'll make any kind of YouTube video you want.
Yeah.
If someone gave me $1 million, I mean, I would make some crazy videos for a lot less than $1 million.
Some TikTok dancing videos.
For a lot less than $1 million.
In the corner.
It wouldn't take $1 million for me to get, you know, 100 likes and I'll start dancing. So like my bar is pretty low.
And maybe you have some confidence in yourself to do stupid shit on the internet that like, it's also your bar's low and you're like, I'm willing to do something interesting, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not worried about getting fired from my job. That helps.
That does help.
I know the boss, you know, he's a pretty nice guy.
Yeah. You sleep in the same bed as the boss.
I do. Yeah. Me and him and my wife.
HR's not happy, but I also know the guy who runs HR.
Yeah, that guy.
I think in the long run, it's just like making games still feels like the thing that will lead to the most reliable source of income. And it's what I want to do. That's the thing is like, I like making videos. I think part of like I've had a recent uptick in people watching more, like my floor of my videos is going up. And I think part of that is just like, I stopped giving I can swear on my podcast. It's my podcast. I stopped giving a fuck and just started making content that I wanted to talk about. And like, even if I'm repeating some of the same topics, it's just what I'm thinking about. It's like a video journal. And I think that resonates with some people. Like I made a Godot tutorial video that did absolutely terrible compared to just like a talking head video where I'm sharing some of my thoughts on game dev and the journey so far.
Isn't that crazy? Like I've found that throughout my life that like, and you hear these stories all the time from people where they're like, yeah, I put so much time and effort into making this highly curated thing and then nobody liked it.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like I spent so much time, I know it's good, but nobody paid any attention to it. And then you do something like, I don't really care about this thing. I'll just throw it out there. And everybody's like, wow, that was amazing. And you're like, oh, God damn it. I don't know what anybody likes.
Yeah.
But I think the key to takeaway there is that you need to, and this is super hard, but you need to allow yourself to be unself-conscious and just do things that feel good and without thinking about the result. Like if you just do something with no self-consciousness and you just scribble on some paper and you do a drawing and you're just free, that's when you make your best work.
Yeah.
And the stuff that you script heavily and you're like writing it and rewriting it and whatever, you rewrite the life out of it and it's not any good anymore. And then it's no wonder nobody liked it when you posted it online. It had become like sterile. And I'm not saying that's what happened with your video, but that's what I've experienced. Like I do drawings and stuff too. And like 9 times out of 10, the stupid scribble I did on a napkin in 5 minutes looks way better than the finished drawing that I spent hours and hours on. And I should have just posted this stupid scribble.
Why do you think that is?
Because I didn't care about the result when I was doing the scribble. It was just better. It just had more energy and life, and everything about it was just nicer because I wasn't concerned about how it was going to be perceived later.
Yeah.
And the thing that I was concerned about being perceived, I polished it and polished it and polished it and polished it. And it turned into just this average piece of garbage that everybody was like, it looks fine.
Yeah. 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 There's a certain level of scuff that stuff doesn't, like, I feel like that's where like game jams for me are so cool. Because a game jam game needs to have a little bit of roughness to it.
Yeah.
You know, like a little bit of like, I want a game jam game to feel like it was thrown together in a weekend. I've played game jam entries where I'm like, this feels like you've been working on this project for 6 months. They might have been, or they might just be a really good dev who has all of this pre-existing knowledge. But like, I feel like the perfect game jam game feels like, oh, this feels like you just made this game, and like that's awesome. You know, there's like very much a that lifeness to it.
That's what I mean. Like you can feel it.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but you can feel it when it's more, it's like it's more real or something. There's like some quality it has where like however the person made it, they weren't like super concerned about it. They were just making something that they thought was awesome. And you can kind of feel it. And I don't know what that is exactly, but whatever that feeling is and however you capture it, I think that's probably the key to success with any kind of art that you're sharing online, whether it's games or YouTube videos. And that's probably why, that's my theory on why your just off the cuff talking heads work better.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it feels more like real and authentic to everybody. And maybe it's not as good as the other stuff. Like you could look at them side by side and go, but this one's better. But there's something about it that is maybe not better.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is exactly, but this is just something I've observed in my own work over time. And it's always a struggle for me to go, but I could keep working on it, make it a little better. Because how are people going to think about this and that and this and that? And I just need to go, no, just put it out there, man. Let it be free, and don't worry about what people think about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but my success rate doing it that way is better.
Just kind of letting
just letting it go. You know, you have to, that's why it's so hard, is because you have to kind of let go of your ego and not care about what people think about you. And those are two things that are like impossible to do.
Yeah.
So just do those impossible things and you'll make better work.
And it feels like something maybe even too, if you have too much of an intention to do that, you ruin it still. Like even if you intend to be loose and free and make it without a care, you'll have too much pressure to do that and then also ruin. Because like you'll come from the opposite side where you're like putting too much energy into the product where like, I'm going to polish it up is also bad. And I'm going to really be free for him is all like, there's like this simplistic kind of like pure creation that we're aiming to hit. And that's a really, really hard thing to hit.
It's almost like people can tell even through this TV screen, even through a video on YouTube. It's almost like people can tell whether the thing that they're looking at was made with love and care or not.
How do you think that? Why do we have that as? I agree. Why do we have that as a human?
I don't know, but isn't that weird?
It's like natural selection stuff, maybe of like
maybe
trying to figure out who's deceiving us about there being a lion around the corner or not. Like,
exactly. Are you a lion in disguise or not? You kind of feel like a lion in disguise. I'm a little nervous about you.
Because you can feel. It's like my therapist always said, as a kid, we're really good at perceiving stuff but not understanding it. And so it's like you can perceive when someone's not being authentic or being more scripted. But like those videos still do well, I think, because they are maybe really well done stories, or they're really well scripted things, or the content is such a high quality that it doesn't matter that it's scripted. You know, you're still being able to present it in this way that tricks our brains into liking it more, as opposed to the other end, which is like, you know, that a video of an old guy sitting by a fire spitting, you know, really cool, you know, unedited, just someone talking about life for an hour is also, I think, a really cool video that is a very different vibe. Yeah.
Like it, and I'm not making an argument against like polishing things or spending a lot of time on it or, you know, whatever. I think you should definitely do those things. But like the guys who made Dredge and me, if we had the exact same idea at the exact same time and the exact same resources, my game would have flopped and theirs would have been awesome. And the difference is that they just cared about it more than I did. Like there's some kind of thing. They just loved that idea, I think. I don't know. I'm just taking an example off the top of my head. I don't know anything about the Dredge people. Maybe I'm wrong. But I feel like they probably just, you know, you can feel like how much they cared about making that game. Yeah. And I wouldn't have had that same level. And so it wouldn't have worked, even though, you know, we were all doing exactly the same things. My version just wouldn't have been any good. And I know that, so I wouldn't have done that game. That's why I don't make games that I'm not excited about making. Yeah. Like I couldn't just go and make a game just because it's popular, because I don't think it would succeed, because I just don't, it's not my thing. I think people can tell.
Yeah, I think they can. And you can tell with, I mean, one of the big problems I feel like with modern big games that cost a lot of money is, well, they cost a lot of money, but also they don't have that. Not all of them. Some of them do, right? Like Expedition 33 was a bigger team of people, not a huge studio, right? Still, but it has that care and feel. Blueprints has that care and feel that people are still able to capture. But like I think indie games, like very small, couple people, one person teams have that feel to them so much more. Like I really don't find myself buying very many big games anymore.
Yeah, me neither. I think the last big game I bought was like Civ 4 or something. And I remember,
That's a while ago, John.
I remember like I was playing it and I'd spent like 100 hours or something playing it, and I was playing it. And then I was like, I just stopped and I was like, it was like 1 a.m. or something. And I looked at it and I'm like, am I having any fun at all?
Like just one more turn. And you're like, wait a second. Should I?
Yeah, I was
like,
wait a minute. I don't think this is any fun. And I stopped playing it right then. And I don't think I've paid more than $20 for a game since then.
That's awesome. How have you, so we're talking a lot about this intention of not like kind of letting creation happen. How have you brought that into game development? I know you talked a little bit about like making art and kind of just doing it. Is that something you've been able to, or is still trying to find that path?
It's tough. It comes and goes, like I said, it's hard to separate. Like I try very hard to only control the things that I can control, which is what the work that I do, the decisions I make, the thing I'm making, doing the best I can making it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the things I can't control are how people are going to perceive it once it's out there, and how many copies it's going to sell or whatever. So I try not to think about those things. And I try not to make decisions based on how well I think people will perceive that decision. I made this game for the Playdate. I'm not certain that it's a game anybody wants. It's a totally accurate kissing booth simulator. You may have heard me talking about it. It's a kissing booth simulator.
That's a name. But that name tells you exactly what the gameplay probably is about, right?
Yeah. And you have to, it's a kissing booth simulator and learning tool to teach people how to kiss by aiming correctly and applying the correct amount of pressure with the Playdate controls. And then there's you have a diary with a bunch of secret crushes in it. And you have a rival who turns out to be your ex, and they want to get back together with you. And there's all this stuff is going on, right?
Oh, cute.
But all these decisions, I woke up one day and the game was just in my head. And I mentioned to my wife, and we riffed on the idea for a couple of minutes. And then we're like, okay, that's the game. Let's make it.
Yeah.
And that game I was able to be pretty free with, and I made a lot of decisions that I don't think a business-minded person thinking about results would have made. Like, first of all, I'd have said, hey, I'm making a Playdate game, and the business guy would have gone, that's stupid. Why don't you make a game that people are actually going to play on a platform with players, like an Xbox game? I'm like, no, I'm going to put it on a Playdate. It's going to be a black and white game. I'm like, all right, you've already failed. Let's move on. What's the game about? It's a kissing booth simulator. They'd have been like, oh my God, there's no market for kissing booth simulators. What category what genre is that? And I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it in sports. And I did. I put it in sports. It's in the sports category in the Playdate store. Why not? This is the type of thing. Like, I'm just doing things that make me giggle and laugh.
Yeah.
And not making good business decisions. But I think in the end, it's going to be a good business decision because I was able to make it in 10 days. I'm pretty confident it's going to make some money, and it wouldn't have been made any other way.
Yeah. There's this idea from Mark Duplass. He makes movies. I don't know if you know who he is. He was actually in The League, if you've ever seen that old TV show. Doesn't matter. It's
like a football game, right?
Yeah,
or a football show. Yeah.
He has a book called Like Brothers, and he talks about this idea of soul points, where he's doing creative stuff, making TV shows or movies or acting and creating stuff, and like he talks about it in a way where certain projects you'll work on and you'll lose soul points by doing it. Maybe it costs you 50 and you get back 30. but he likes the projects where he gets to go do them. He's doing the activities he loves to do, and it costs 8 soul points, and he gets 10. So like maybe he gets less soul points total, but he's in the positive there. And it sounds like this game you made, a totally accurate kissing booth simulator. I'm a sucker for, I love a good long name. I think it's great. Anyways, that sounds like that was maybe a net positive for soul points for you to be able to create a game, and you create something you loved, you made decisions you loved, and it didn't drain you more than what you kind of got back from it.
Yeah, totally. Good advice I've given, that I've been given, and I've given to other people is, if you ever have any people in your life that you feel more tired after you hang out with them than energized, you probably shouldn't hang out with that person anymore. Like they're draining they're an energy vampire. Yeah. And you should not hang out with those people anymore, because they're ruining your life basically bit by bit, you know? And yeah, it's the same. Like one of the things about this goes back to being employed or self-employed, right? Yeah. Employment is a steady paycheck, but it also takes soul points. And I don't know if you're getting as many back as you put in. And we've chosen game development, which gives us tons of soul points, but not as much money. But I think that's a good trade.
Yeah. It's an interesting resource we have to manage, is like our creative juice as a creative person, and like trying to stay net positive in soul points will let us make more games in the long run. Like, I feel like a lot of devs will make a game, put so many soul points into it, release it on Steam, and have it make less than $1,000, and then they quit because they've poured too much of they're like burnt out from the project. They poured too much into it and got none of the financial benefit, and they're like, well, I guess this isn't for me. When maybe they're just like, need to go make another game.
Maybe. And you know, that could be like the thing that you're describing there is like being too concerned about the outcome. Yeah. Which you can't control. Yeah. And you should have been enjoying making it more. Mm-hmm. And maybe, I mean, there's no guarantees, but maybe it would have turned out better. But if you didn't care about the outcome as much, you certainly wouldn't have been as bummed out by the $1,000. You'd have been more happy about the $1,000 than upset about it. And I don't know. I mean, $1,000 doesn't sound like very much money, but it doesn't in Southern California. I'll tell you that.
I always like to picture games in terms of how many people are in a room. Like if it was like 50 players who played the game, and you had to like book a room somewhere, and they were playing it concurrently, you're like, 100. You've had 500 people. Like that's a pretty big room, and it's gonna smell pretty bad. Like that's a lot of people. It's gonna have a certain like, because then it makes a person become present. They're actually picturing 500 probably nerds playing this game, sitting there sweaty like. That's like a Magic the Gathering kind of tournament level sweaty room that smell and like it changes the perspective of like, on Steam that's not very many players, but in reality that's a lot of computers. That's a warm room, you know?
Yeah, totally. I like that way of thinking about things. Yeah. Like some of the funnest things that I've done have had like 20 people there. Yeah. You know, and those are the types of things where I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like when I leave those things, I'm like, I feel bouncier and I'm full of energy, you know. I don't feel tired. I mean, I feel tired, but not like drained. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a good tired. Yeah. And you're like, I can't wait till we do that again. Yeah. And it's not very many people usually.
I feel that way with the game dev meetups. I leave that. I'm like, this was a good use of my time. You know?
Yeah, that's awesome. I like the way of thinking about it. Yeah. Although, I mean, business guys creeping in the back of my head, but like, they're like, yeah, but you won't make rent next month.
It is a tension. It is a tension. I'm making new D&D characters right now for a campaign I'm going to be in, and like all good characters have tensions. All good characters have tensions, and like we have a good tension that keeps us, you know, trying to figure out how to you know balance all these competing priorities. And it's not an easy thing to do. Yeah. Last little, we'll do a little quick round, fast round. Okay. What's the best advice that you've gotten that you've actually used?
The best advice that I've gotten that I've actually used. I guess the best advice I've gotten that I've actually used, this is going to be a little meta, is that any advice you get is usually autobiographical. It's not going to work for you. Like it worked for the guy giving the advice, but it's not going to work for you because your situations are totally different. Like unless it's such trivial advice like brush your teeth, like, I mean, that'll probably work. But if they're like, here's how I made my first $1 million, that guy couldn't even do it again, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
If he went back in time and like did all the same steps again, I don't think it would work out the same. There's like so much timing and weird situations, and his dad was a millionaire and yours isn't. Like this, it's just, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So just remember when people give you advice or when you see advice on the internet, unless it's from Aramis, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Like,
I try hard not to give advice. I try to share my experience and then let you derive what you want to from that. It's hard not to give advice, but
it is hard. And I take advice I see on the internet, but I'll see a video. Like I was watching one of your podcasts with Thornity, and I was like taking notes, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really good way to do that thing. Mm-hmm. But also, I know that like I'm going into it with this wisdom, I guess, of just remembering, well, that worked for him.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee it's going to work for me, but it sounds like good advice. I'm going to try it anyway.
Yeah.
So that's my best advice that I follow.
Just to
advice about advice.
Take advice with a grain of salt. I like that.
Yeah.
What's the first game you made?
Oh man. I remember making games when I was a very young kid. It was probably like on an Apple II. I was playing, it was like computer class, which is a class they used to have back then. And I was playing like Oregon Trail or something on the green monitor. And I realized you could actually like start typing in a basic program.
Yeah.
And I think the very first game I made was like this text mode game, kind of a roguelike. Maybe I was ahead of my time, where you were in command of the Enterprise and a starship, and you could like, it would say on the screen, it would be like little text would come up and say, there's a enemy vessel. And you could go like, all right, push 2 to raise shields. That was probably my first one. That was very
beautiful. That's beautiful. Did you give it to anybody to play?
No one ever saw it but me.
Oh, that's lovely.
I don't even know if I saved it. I probably wrote it that day in class and then turned the computer off.
Sure. And it's just gone.
It's just gone.
There's something very lovely about that. Who is a role model?
I have a strong memory of it, though.
Yeah, fair enough. Who's a role model you have, or somebody you like look up to that you've never met?
A role model that I've never met?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, but like somebody I see.
My example would be Adam Savage from MythBusters. I've never met him, but I watch his content. He has Tested on YouTube, and
I'm a fan of Tested.
It's when he sits there and he just talks, I'm like, yes, keep talking. It's partly where Aramis's new style has come from, of just be me on camera and like let it all flow out. Is very much inspired by what he does on Tested.
I mean, I try not to put anybody on a pedestal. I think celebrities and famous people and whatever are just like regular people who got lucky, and like they still have to poop, you know, and put on their pants and stuff. And it's like, you're just like a regular guy. Just shut up. But I think I don't know. I kind of have a crush on John Cena right now.
Really?
Yeah. I hope he's not like a secret Nazi or something, because that would ruin everything.
You never know. You really hope for the best.
Right. He seems like such a cool dude right now.
Yeah.
Like I just saw an interview with him where he was like, they were like, hey, John Cena, what is acting or wrestling harder? And he goes, well, what do you think is harder? And they go, well, wrestling, right? Because you can get hurt. And he goes, well, have you ever acted before? They know how to hurt your feelings in Hollywood. And that hurts.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I like
physical
this guy.
Stuff heals. Emotional stuff you have to work
Right, that's
at.
much more damaging. So I'm like, I can relate to this guy. So John Cena, right at this very moment, is my role model.
I'm sure he's on a bunch of podcasts, so I'll go and I'll
you should book him next.
Yeah, not this podcast. No, that'd be great. John Cena's watching this, or John
game
Cena.
Developers, or who you should get is I'm a big fan of Brendan Chung.
I don't know who that is.
He made Gravity Bone, and his Blendo Games is the studio.
All right.
And
Brendan
he got his start doing mods for like Quake mods. And he just came out with a really cool one where you're an insurance agent on a spaceship. Like you're the insurance policy.
Yeah.
So pirates have raided the ship, and
Yeah.
it wakes you up out of cryosleep, and you just have to kill all the pirates and get them off the ship. but you're not wearing shoes and you don't have any weapons or anything. And it's like a stealth, like sneaking around.
Oh, you are the insurance policy as far as like
the
they're
insurance
like,
policy.
wake in case of emergency.
Exactly. They broke the glass. You wake up and then you have to get the pirates off the ship.
Oh, cool.
It's a neat game. But anyway, so I just like the fact that he started out doing Quake mods, and he kind of does it all like he, indie, and he's made it work, he has a studio now, and now he's at the point where he's like, yeah, I'm going to take 3 years making this next one.
Oh, he's living the place I want to become. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
see, I just want to look down the road to hear how, the thought process and the journey. That's a good one. Okay.
Like he's made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's proven that you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I'm a fan.
Cool. I like that. I'll check him out. Final question. How do you combat scope creep, or do you manage scope creep? What's your relationship with scope creep? It's the name of the podcast. It's where I like to end.
I mean, you got to be brutal, right? I don't know if you know the Strange Scaffold guy, Zollivier. Mm-mm. He made he's a big role model of mine too, actually, and he made a studio, or he just made Click Holding came out of his studio.
Okay, sure.
You know that one? And I'm Your Beast, and a airport for dogs, or an airport for aliens currently run by dogs. So, right? So he makes these weird games, and he does the things that I'm talking about, where he's like not caring so much about the outcome, making them fast, cutting scope, doing all this stuff. And one of the things he said, which is some advice that I said don't really listen to, but I love this advice. We're also
hypocrites as humans, and so
yes, exactly. So his advice was, if you only have 2 weeks to make the game, you can absolutely make the game in 2 weeks. You just have to make the version of the game that you can make in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Don't try and make the 6-month version of the game in 2 weeks. It won't work. You have to make the 2 week.
You have
version.
to make decisions given the fact that you're doing it in 2 weeks.
Right. So he says, yeah, it's totally possible to make a game in 3 months. You just have to make the 3-month version.
Right. And
don't fool yourself.
You might not want to make that version, which is fine.
Right.
But
maybe that version
sucks,
and you're like, well, I'm not going to make that.
Yeah.
So then pick a different idea, right?
Sure.
You got to know. So you just got to be brutal and be honest with yourself and look at what you have to make and do a little bit of production schedule planning and go, can I actually do that in the time?
Yeah.
And if you can't, then you have to just cut them some things. You say, well, this can go, that can go, and do your best, because estimating is really hard. But it is totally possible to give yourself a time limit and say, here's what I'm making in that time.
Yeah.
And therefore, X, Y, and Z has to get cut.
Yeah. I like that. You can make the game in the amount of time, but it has to be the game that can be made in that time. It can't be the game that's,
it seems so obvious, but he was the first person that said that I was like, oh my God.
I think the law is called Parkinson's law, which I don't know has anything to do with actual Parkinson's, but it's like work will fill up the time allotted. So if you give yourself 8 hours to do something, it's going to take you 8 hours to do the thing because you've given it that amount of time to do it. And so just give yourself 2 hours and it'll take 2 hours.
Right. Yeah. And you'll cut some corners maybe, but you can do it. You can get it done. And
we'll accidentally get to that point where it's that perfect level of scuff we were talking about earlier in the podcast.
Right. Maybe people will like the 2-hour version better than the 10-hour version.
Oh, boy. There's probably so many things out there that we've done that are like, you spent 5 times as much time as you needed to, and it would have been better earlier.
I mean, that's why I like shorts and TikTok so much right now.
You have to
because
like down. Yeah.
I was making like tutorial videos and stuff, and it's such a slog. It takes forever, and they're like 20 minutes long, and you're editing and blah blah blah, and you get 200 views on it or whatever. But you put out I just put out a short yesterday. I swear to God, I clipped it from my Twitch stream. It took me 2 minutes. And I think it got like 2,000 views overnight. Like, it's just, don't care about, not quality. Care about quality, but there are certain things that were like just better if they're off the cuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. This was awesome. It was amazing to finally get to talk to you in person after all these years
fun,
of kind of just through Twitch chat and rating each other and
exactly, chat
all that
boxes and stuff.
I'm excited to see where the mailroom ends up. I will play it when it comes out. and it's going to be scary.
I hope
And
it's
I'm going to
scary.
need to have a friend with me in Discord to be with me while I'm watching or playing it, because I'm not good with
Headphones.
scary stuff. But
Yeah, headphones in a dark room are required.
I'm
looking forward to Black
hack
Hole
their
game.
camera so you see what the light level is in the room, and you don't let them play unless they adjust the lights.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's
you go.
some scope creep right there. And I
There you
could like make it multiplayer so I could like sneak into the game and whisper things in their ear.
Oh boy! Don't turn left. Like, whoa!
Hey, Andy.
Hey. Oh, you call them out by name. Oh, if we throw privacy out the window, there's so much possibilities.
Yeah, how much funner would things be if we didn't care about people's privacy or boundaries?
And we'd only use it for altruistic, fun things like whispering in their
Yeah.
ears. We would never do anything bad with it, right?
Right, never.
Cool. Alrighty. I'll have you on again soon at some point to chat about how the mailroom goes or whatever project you're working on next. And
Thanks.
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Pretty cool conversation, and it's so weird. It felt like I was talking to a friend that whole time, and I had never actually met him in person. Like, there is some cool parts of the internet where you do get to actually build friendships through people, and the stuff you're doing on Twitch without like being parasocial, like you are getting to know these people in a really interesting and cool way. So thank you, Jotson, for being on this podcast. Finally, I had invited him to other versions of Scope Creepers and other podcasts multiple times. This is the first time I'm actually taking a run at making a podcast consistently. My plan for the future is to be trying to have a podcast weekly, maybe having some more return guests, or simply like there's so many devs out there that I want to talk to and know. So if you want me to interview somebody, or there's somebody you know, or you want to be interviewed yourself, leave a comment below, and that just might be the next person I chat with here. Again, go check out Jotson's upcoming project, The Mailroom. This dithering effect. The first time I saw this trailer, I got annoyed. I got annoyed at how cool this dithering looks and some of the art aesthetics he was able to create in his game here. And so very excited to see how this one turns out. And like we're talking about during this podcast, like Jotson's making games with his heart, and like those are going to have a very different feel than someone who's making decisions not with their heart. And I think because of that, like I'm leaving this conversation incredibly inspired to go and like make decisions that feel good to me, that feel right to me, that feel fun to me, or whatever I'm trying to do with my games, and make those work out in the long run. This podcast has been an absolute pleasure to do. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. If you've been listening to this part for this long, thank you very much. And if you're on a long walk right now, take a moment and just kind of reflect upon your own game development journey after this podcast is done, where you're going. Be grateful in this moment. I've been having some struggles of late in life, and I think trying to be present and be grateful in those moments has been something that's helped me a lot as I've been working through some stuff. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Aramis. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.